Hi everyone, my name is Shakira. I work in civil society.
Papi Munso, I'm a trade marketing manager, if you want to call it that, for an FMCG company.
Mondo Mvundle, I work for an advertising agency. I'm a strategist, and I also had a non-profit organization for about 6 years of my life.
Hi, my name is Kamachelo Akodisang. I'm what you can call a social activist as well as a permaculturist.
Good day, guys. My name is Makhabu Jerira Matlodi. I'm the National Assistant Manager with the Electoral Commission, responsible for stakeholder liaison and civic education.
I'm Sbu Mjali. I run a company called the Group. We specialize in advertising and marketing.
Hi everyone, I'm Nikki Wabam. I'm an activist.
We are at an exciting time in this country. The elections have been gazetted for the 1st of November, which means we're about a month away from elections. You can see the political parties are out there making more promises to communities, but it has become very important for us to find out how many of us actually understand how the electoral system works. And perhaps the first question that we should get into is, how does local government elections differ from national elections?
Look, with the national and provincial elections, people vote for, political parties that are going to represent them in the provincial legislature or the National Assembly. Now, in contrast to local elections, when you go to local elections, we use two kinds of systems. We use the first past the post system or majoritarian system at a ward level. This is the system that is used to elect your ward councillors, for instance. Now, with this system, the seat belongs to the individual. That's why ordinarily when a councillor would have been expelled from the party or would have resigned from council, would have passed on, we have what we call a by-election to give that particular community or constituency an opportunity to elect a new ward councillor. You would remember that at the moment we are currently reviewing the system that is being used for the national and provincial elections to allow an individual like you and me, who's not necessarily a politician but would want to be in parliament, an opportunity to do so from as an independent. Currently, to contest your national, provincial, or PR or local metro district council, you can only do so by virtue of being on a party list. So that if you're not on a party list, regrettably at the moment you can't. But you'd remember, as we had a discussion earlier, that the Constitutional Court has ruled that Parliament has 24 months to go and review the system to enable an individual like you and myself to actually even contest your national and provincial elections. In other words, it is no longer going to be a party based list system like the PR system that we're currently using. In the PR system, or with the PR system, the individuals that are elected are not directly accountable to us. It is the parties, because remember, those seats belong to those parties. Hence, I said parties get seats based on the proportion of votes they would have received in an election. The only difference is with the, our local at ward level, where we use the first past the post system. This is where now the individual then is accountable to us directly. We can go to the ward councillor and say, you promised 1, 2, 3 is not delivered, and hold that person accountable.
Okay. Now, with that being said, if independent candidates now can contest local government elections, do you think this will make government and parties more responsive to community needs? Or do you think it will be just business as usual, politicians will be politicians?
I definitely think it's going to be business as usual with parties. One of the biggest challenges that I think we face with the proportional representation is the interpretation of proportional representation by political parties. I feel it benefits them mainly where we don't get to directly choose the representatives in office, where the political parties themselves will. I mean, we know very little about the internal processes of a political party. We know more about JSE listed companies than we do of actual political organizations. So I definitely feel on an independent level it will definitely change a lot. But when it comes to political parties, we need an open list system. This is what I think should happen, instead of being dictated to that these are the candidates that we're putting forth, who could be changed at a party's will whenever they see fit.
Yeah, I think, you know, with the independence, I'm all for independence. That's just me, because we've tried the system as it's been for the past close to 30 years, and unfortunately, it has shown us flames. But you will see the guys right now. They'll come knock at your doors and do this, that, and the other, and give you T-shirts and give, you know, there'll be manifestos. There'll be this. That. People don't eat manifestos. What you actually need, I mean, for me, when it comes to the independence, those are people that are actually probably going to be living on your street, in your area. They know what the issues are. Those are the people that are actually going there to try and deliver from a political point of view the issues that, you know, that community actually has. Because if you're talking about, and you're right, because when it comes to the issue of the parties fielding candidates, that is where the issue is. Because when people are not happy with the candidate, it doesn't matter. You still have to actually go through, exactly, you still have to go to the political party, and it takes forever to actually get rid of that person that is not delivering. And it depends on whether, you know, that person is actually being liked by some in the area or by some within the political party. It becomes a mess. So for me, independence all the way.
We must remember though, guys, that already local government is at a coal phase of service delivery. Sure. And already at local government level, we have people that can stand as independent. Yeah. You know, so let's bear that in mind when we go into this discussion, that already we're talking at the level of you know, service delivery, where as we speak, the system does allow you and me to actually stand as independents in those elections. Yeah.
I think for me, though, then the issue in that space specifically actually sits with the IEC. That's where the problem is. Because how many people know about that? Because we only see the IEC when it's election time. And there's this whole time where those kind of education, I don't know what you call them, but there could be a lot of that actually happens, so that you prepare those people to actually understand the various spheres as to where they can actually participate. If I want to be an independent, let's say I actually wanted to be one, I didn't know what you just told us now.
That information has always been there. It's just that it's available in certain pockets. From where I stand, I've always known that in local elections you can stand as an independent. But now it's not something that I'll concur with you when you say the IEC has actually shortchanged us, because their job is to ensure that everyone knows. But now, I don't want to be an exception. Yeah. But in this case, it seems like it's only a few of us who know that. Or moreover, because maybe from the community that I come from, we have had independent candidates. And I'll also agree with you when I say we need them. Because they are accountable to us. They're not accountable to the house. They are accountable to the constituency, and in also doing that, because when we allow that these formally liberation parties and whatnot to come with their catered deployment system, they'll bring someone who doesn't actually even belong to that community to come and campaign or stand for elections, and they end up not even residing in that immediate community. We have instances whereby a councillor doesn't even stay in that ward. Now, if people are complaining about service delivery, he's not bothered, he's not there. But now, if it's someone within the community, they know what we go through daily. They know the challenges that we face, okay? But now, they are also, you must understand, we're coming from communities whereby the whole concept of being captured is rife. Allow me to say, even there are pockets of society that say IEC is also captured. because of how things are being done. Now,
I think IEC just needs a proper corporate identity, because we almost don't know what the IEC does until it's elections time. So they are like, you know, that silent person, and that comes election time, IEC, then they just pop up out of nowhere, you know? They just need like a proper brand identity, like teach us what you do. Like what you told me now, to me, it's, you know, it's good morning to my ears, you know, like there's a lot of information that I didn't know. I honestly didn't know about the IEC.
But now we have to ask, whose job is it? Is it the IEC's job to spoon feed the information? The IEC says this information is freely available. Why aren't people accessing? What is the problem?
Look, big brands do marketing and advertising around to build a brand identity, if you get what I'm saying. So IEC needs to do that with us as well, like teach us what you do.
Perhaps if I may come in, and fortunate enough, I come from the directorate that deals with civic education. Look, we've got programs within the commission where we educate the electorate, in fact the public at large, about these things that we're talking about. We even have programs that are, you know, specific for particular population groups. Like for instance, we have a project called Schools Democracy Week. In April, the whole of April we'll be visiting schools to, you know, conduct civic and democracy education at schools. And we even go to communities. To a point where, and this is where it's disappointing, you would even have to go around saying, we've got catering, please come listen to our message to communities. People don't come when you want to share this information that we're sharing with you. You know, you would have to then use other incentives to ensure that you attract them to your events. So civic and democracy education initiatives are there. In fact, you can pull records and see just how many interventions have been there, even during COVID. You know, you even during COVID, now during COVID, where there's a limitation in terms of the number of people that you can gather at the time, the IEC has been doing civic and voter education. We've got loud hailing. You'll find us on community radio stations. You find us on TV. You find us. It's just that we become very, you know, active during election periods.
Okay, I just want to ask Putom, like you are saying, you are educating the people.
Yeah.
And obviously, maybe you're targeting groups. Do you have regional offices, district offices? Do you reach out to rural areas, for instance? Or you just maybe, like most of the commissions here in South Africa, especially the Chapter 9 institutions, you find them either here in Gauteng, here in Johannesburg, or you'll find them in big cities. And people that are deep down in rural areas, most of the time, they don't get access to that information. Like now, people in rural areas, they become so loyal to political parties because that is what elections, this is what voting system has. They have that perception that voting is all about political parties. And we gain democracy through this voting. Like for instance, in 1994, when people had to vote, Mandela was in jail and all that. So when you go to rural areas or other communities, people just know that there is an ANC, there is maybe this political party, and now maybe there is other political parties that they may be aware of. But for them, it's just about those political parties. And you find that those people that are there being loyal to those political parties are the ones that are being failed by the same systems because they don't get service delivery, they don't get anything, but they are attached to the brand. Especially people that are not educated. People will go there, they won't even know the face on that ballot paper. But as long as they see the yellow and the black color, they will put an X there.
In fact, interesting enough, those are the people that usually would attend our voter education, you know, interventions, the ones that you refer to as not educated. We have an IEC office in every municipality. It's not only here in Centurion where I'm based. In every province, in every municipality, there's a local IEC office. And those offices then, you know, would have even regional offices. Like for instance, in you know, municipalities where you've got your district municipality, you have a regional office, and then within those, you know, within the regional office, in every local municipality, there's a local IEC office. And we conduct events as part of our legislative mandate. Remember, somebody asked this question, is it the responsibility of the IEC to conduct voter education? Yes, it is. In fact, it's our legislative mandate. It is. Part of our report to Parliament, as we account to Parliament, is to also, submit a report on the number of interventions, voter education interventions that we've had. We are to account on that specific performance area as well.
There's a huge challenge that we have with also separating party politics, as well as it's usually state or the politics. In this case, we can say the municipality or the party. The party does really dominate the space, even with independence. As much as we believe a constituency is what's required, when it comes to independence, they're held by a very different standard than political parties, which already creates a separation from how accountability is held. Even when an independent is elected, there's a lot of red tape that comes from the higher ups, that comes from the city level, that comes from the provincial level, and that comes from the national level, which limits all of the things that they can do. Which limits
these systems that we use involve public participation to formulate. That is why even now, when we are reviewing the current PR system to include an independent to contest, it is given back to Parliament to go through a consultative process with the community to have your inputs, so that at the end of the day, when we have a system, we've got a system that you would have taken part in creating, even the current systems that we have. So it is not that with independence is the red tape. It is the way the system is designed.
Well, with that said, then do you guys think that an independent candidate stands a chance in this system in comparison to very mature political parties?
Well, not at all. I mean, you've got to, if you're talking a political party, I mean, you're talking huge resources. You're talking communication specialists involved. You're talking, you're talking Coca-Cola, literally, against, I don't know, yeah. So might have been a Coke product, but anyway. But the reality is that with the kind of resources, that is why I'm also happy with this whole thing about disclosing the funders. Yeah, because but then suddenly no one got anything over 100,000. But anyway, there's unfortunately, what the state capture has actually shown thus far is that we are in serious trouble, because things are being done it seems like in the dark rooms. You only see just the snippets, But back to your question, the independents, they don't really, unless this whole education program is well understood within our communities. Only
let's unpack the system.
What I would like, what I would like to understand now is the ratio. If, for instance, the system will say those who want to vote must vote, those who don't want to vote must not vote, and then we compare such numbers. There is a myth, so I just want you to come into that if you don't go and vote, all the people that did not vote, they are counted with the majority. That is the winning part. So how true is that?
No, that is not true. Remember, we'll address that issue at the later stage. I wanted to say, in terms of the current system that we have, as much as a political party would get seats in government or in parliament based on the number of votes that they would have received in an election, in comparison to the others. Even decision making, it's like that. When there has to be a decision to be made, they vote. And the majority party, oftentimes, because they have the majority seats and therefore the majority votes, their policies would be the ones that then become our national policies. Yes. Their ideas would be then the ones that become national ideas. Let's go to local council, where you would have an independent candidate sitting there. Again, for the bylaws to be passed, any decision that relates to changing of laws would have to be passed in council. There's got to be a council resolution, and they vote on these things. Now you have a majority party in the local council based on the PR system, and there's one independent there that feels perhaps things should be going in one direction instead of the other. What is the chances of that person winning in that case? Because even at local council, we still use the PR system for the local council. So you see, now it is the system, responding to your question, my brother, it is the system, the way that it's configured to favor political parties than independents. You understand? Hence now, the Constitutional Court has said, go and review the system. You have 24 months from last year, June, to come back with a system that will accommodate independence even at these levels, the national level, the provincial level. However, this is a system that must make these independents effective, because currently, in their current form, really, your guess is as good as mine, whether that is working or not.
Then what are the disadvantages and advantages of this hybrid system? Like, even if we look at maybe when it's implemented at a national and provincial level, what are the advantages and disadvantages of our independent candidates or the hybrid system itself?
It is not the system. For democracy to work effectively, it needs active citizens. Yeah. And I may pose this question to you, not that I need you to answer it now. When was the last time you attended a community meeting? Because really that's where it begins. And you find that in a lot of discussions that we have with our community members, they don't, and that is where the decision even to nominate somebody to be fielded as a candidate, takes place. It happens from grassroots in the community. So the reason why you find things, as they currently are, is because a lot of our people are not participating, and therefore failing democracy.
I concur with you on that. But I have a slightly different take. Okay. And my take is, some of us who are older, if you look at back in the day, we used to have SDUs, self-defense units. We used to have all those community-based structures because it was very easy. We knew what the problem was and who the enemy was. So it was very difficult for anyone to actually infiltrate the communities right at the street level. And those structures actually worked very well purely because the community engagement was there. But there's a reason why all of those things were actually removed, because they were deliberately removed. There's a reason why they were removed. Because money came into the whole political space. And when I'm saying money came into the political spaces, and this is not an IEC problem. This is not politics, this is the business of politics. Because what we're dealing with in South Africa right now is the business of politics. If you don't have your tentacles in some business somewhere, which is the tender things we were talking about, because we all know those tenders, there are envelopes everywhere. It's just that we don't get them. Maybe that's why we're angry. I've always said that even the Guptas, if I was getting something from the Guptas, I'll keep quiet. Yeah. But the reality is that what that does is it actually has our communities, because all of a sudden, the ward councillor or whatever it is, there's 30,000 rand salary there. People who are unemployed will kill to have that salary. That's the problem we have. We don't have leaders anymore. We literally have power mongers who are really hell-bent on getting their hands on the purse strings.
Would you then say, against this backdrop, that the challenge we are facing is our electoral system, or our people not being actively involved in our democratic processes?
I think it's actually a bit of both. Our electoral system is is failing us purely because of the information that you gave us today that made my eyes go, wow, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is, our people are not getting involved in politics because to be a bloody simple, sorry, excuse my French, to be a simple ward councillor, if you go to KZN, chances are you're going to die. So who wouldn't be afraid to actually participate, to want to put, I mean, last 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? People got shot in a meeting. Yeah. So there is, and I'm telling you that it's money. It's nothing else but the money.
I think there is also a communication breakdown there, like you were saying, of the small organizations.
Yeah.
If you want to do some work with the community, you need to understand that community and how it responds to a call and who is calling them, you know, because right now it's Heritage Month. So you might find that there has been a lot of crowds gathered culturally. So you lost a contact with the main leaders there, which are the traditional leaders, which I always say that they are being used every now and then for when it comes to campaigns, because everyone now either is going to a church or is going to a traditional leader for the community gathering. But again, comes to a point of education. Have you ever went to a church to say, we are here, we want to educate people. We are here as Department of Social Development, we want to educate people on services that are offered by the government. Now you go to the communities, you come as a political organization that is just going to talk to the people and promise, and nothing else is going to happen. Even with IEC, first identify a leader in the community. That leader must understand what you are bringing to the community. Then that person is going to break it down to the community according to how are they going to respond to such. There is that detachment ever since there is the introduction of municipal councillors. I always say that you cannot be a councillor here and you are responsible for 7 villages. Those villages with their traditional leaders. And you think that you're going to deliver services in those villages without having a good relationship with the traditional leader. And again, the system of the councillors here, you are paying this person more than you are paying those people who has been delivering services for those people and standing up for those people in those communities, understanding their needs. I will make an example of the food parcels. Those the food vouchers that are given off by social development. You come, you bring social development to a councillor. We have seen these things even during pandemic, where people were actually targeting their friends instead of targeting the poor people in those communities. Why is that? It's because that traditional leader that you are ignoring there, undermining because you're earning more than him, knows better who is actually disadvantaged in that community. But you bypass those people. People just want, okay, we want a list. They are using first their committees. Obviously, their committees know who is in their favor in this community. So there is always that detachment, because now if we are not going to integrate the traditional system and this democratic system, which is the voted people there, then we are always going to have such problems. Even education-wise, if you call people in the community that listen to their induna and you think you're just going to come because you are a government person, people are not going to listen to you.
Is very important as well. If I can just go back to the interpretation of our PR system, I think the system is where it's failing us. That's why we have a lot of civil society that is apathetic. I mean, active citizenship is very important for any democracy, for any country. However, I feel a lot of people feel their votes don't really matter. That's part of the problem because of the interpretation that we have of the PR system. I don't understand why we still stick to this closed list system that was introduced in 1994, where it was supposed to be a temporary system that was already seen by the architects of our democracy to transition or evolve at some point. I think that's part of the reason why we have this apathy in the South African
But
society.
you must remember that you can have the best system in the world as long as it's a democracy where people are not active. Even that democracy, system rather, will not work effectively.
Yeah, you know what? Even if we were to, let's say, refine the electoral system, it doesn't mean that things are going to change overnight. Because now, Putsu highlighted the thing that there's money involved, greed. And also with greed, it means even if I'm pro-independent candidate, yes, they're going to be bottlenecks, gatekeepers. Because now, for example, we all know what happened with Cape Town. The mayor, different party. Province, different party. National, different party. Now, when people are saying we need houses, local government can't do anything because now they have to rely from national government. Then national government can easily sabotage. Now, meaning that we don't have to refine the IEC system. We need active citizenry, because now in doing so, because now the best way to see that democracy actually works is when we actually have also independent candidates. Because with independent candidates, we're actually saying what to these big parties. We're saying, hey, yeah. Because without us doing that, meaning we'll wait for Jesus to come, like they told us we're going to wait for Jesus to come.
Look at how many opportunities the current systems are giving a person to be active. If you are in a metro like ourselves now in Joburg Metro, you get to vote for your metro council, you get to vote for your ward councillor. And then you go to a rural municipality where there are districts. Then you get your district PR ballot, you get your local PR ballot, and you get your ward. So these are the opportunities that people only become active when it's time to register sometimes, and the others would only become active when it's time to vote. And then from there, they pull back. And now when you pull back, you are making that system frustrate you because it can't work without people. You are essentially saying to politicians that you have voted into office that now they must, yes, exactly. So active citizenship, it's a fundamental value or principle that has to to be knocked in our people's heads for them to understand that for democracy for us to work, you've got to be active. When there's right now I hear you are saying that, and it's correct, that you would have a ward councillor responsible for 7 villages. Do you know that in every ward there are ward committees, and those do not necessarily have to belong to any political party. The 10 people from the ward form what we call ward committees. These are people that are going to work with the ward councillor, representing the needs of the community, in that particular area. Do you know about ward committees? No. They don't have to be associated to any political party, yet they work with the ward councillor, irrespective of whether that ward councillor belongs to a party, their party or not. So there are those structures. Hence I'm saying that I think really what we need to do as South Africans, we can check systems, of course. We can go to the best system that has worked or tested to have worked in the best countries in the world. But as long as we as citizens are not actively involved, and by active I mean from grassroots, attending those meetings.
Is the issue information then?
Not necessarily information, because from where I'm sitting now, we do have, Ward 31, where I come from, we do have ward committees. But then those ward committees, I would say, we are being bulldozed by the leading party. The ruling party does not, they want nothing to do with anyone who doesn't belong to that party. Meaning, even if you were to put your name to be in that committee, you won't. Your name won't even appear anywhere.
We assist communities to elect ward committees. When we are there, you do not have to belong to a party to be nominated to be a ward committee. No. Most of the ward committee elections are run by us, the IEC, and therefore, unless of course there are other politics that could be happening in your area that we're not aware of. But you do not have to belong to a political party.
No, but yes. What he's saying is that, no, they do have the ward committee.
Yes.
But whatever it is that ward committee raises as the community issues,
yes,
from the ruling party's point of view, it gets ignored. So you kind of think to yourself, which is what the question that you asked, Shakira, in terms of your independence. We can have all of these things. If we are being bulldozed from that lovely office, yeah. The thing is, we can debate this and be blue on the face, because for me, it's a matter of, I mean, you actually see it now. It's manifesting itself like very loudly that people are not about serving communities. If they were, there would be no reason why you had people toying outside your office to change lists. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, if your one thing is to have your community served, and these are the people, I'm just saying, you know, let's say you belong to the ruling party. The mere fact that I'm from the ruling party, your name has been put forward, I and my friends organize and come to your office to say, those names there, we don't want those people. It tells you that it's never about community service. It's about money.
So now, because from what I gather from you, the issue is accountability, right? Throughout the spectrum. So if now there's no accountability, if there's no party or independent candidate coming back to the community and accounting, can we say we still have a democracy?
Remember, I've indicated before you that, look, the systems that we have, these two systems, with PR system, political parties are accountable to the people. With the majoritarian system, the individual elected is accountable to the people. So where is the problem? I think maybe that is the question that we should be asking, because the systems are designed such that there is accountability in terms of the system.
The problem now comes in when you are an independent candidate, you win elections. Your mayoral candidate there is a political party. Now you want to deliver services, that person is sabotaging you. So you can win locally here and be the councillor, but now you want to maintain the road, you want to bring water here, you want to do that. Who are you going to ask those things? From a political party. That is why I'm saying, if these people will always see themselves as competitors other than servants of the same people here, then it becomes a problem.
Given these challenges that you are outlining here, and now hoping that we all understand the electoral systems that are in place, what would you then say is the solution moving forward? Do we then say people should not vote or people should vote? Because really, I think at the end of the day, we need to map a way forward.
No, true. I would actually add the third one to say, should I continue paying tax? Like, seriously, I have, well, until, you know, when I get a refund, but other than that, I don't see where my tax money is going. And it's linked to this entire thing we've been discussing here.
We can have the best systems or system in the world. As long as our people are not actively participating, it would not work effectively for us. And currently, seated where we are, there are issues of your participations in the IDP, your issues of the ward committees, your issues of community meetings, your issues. And those are the things that a lot of people are not taking part in. The only time that most of us really come to this issue of elections is when we register or when we vote, and then we put back until there's a service delivery issue. You understand what I'm saying?
So then do we go back to what I was saying, that we IEC as an institution needs to educate the people, like they need to, because I think political parties, maybe they're campaigning, IEC is not, but they're more active than the actual IEC. Like, I think if you had to ask like a 16-year-old in high school, what does the IEC do or who are the IEC, they wouldn't know.
You will be shocked because we've got records of our events being conducted.
They don't know, they are ministers.
Schools. You see, that is why I'm saying that. You see, the challenge we have, and I'm saying this also as a South African, that your frustrations to some extent are my frustrations. But what we have seen is that for any system to work, no matter how good or bad that system is, it requires people to participate. And in reality in South Africa currently, a lot of people are despondent.
Yes. I have a new appreciation for what you guys do, even though When I came here, I was still under this cloud of not really knowing what the IEC does. Because all I know is that the IEC has one job and one job only, conduct elections. But there's so many programs that you guys have got. I don't think they're reaching the people that they actually need to reach. That's from where I'm seated. Okay. And I think you guys need to actually do more, because by you doing more from an education point of view and actually touching the lives of those people, we will change the status quo.
And guys, you are aware this is also an IEC sponsored interaction? That's one of those?
No, I wasn't.
You see?
I wouldn't have come here if
you see?
I'm
So as proof that, look, you are here, you're not even aware this is the IEC.
Exactly.
You are hosted by the IEC here.
See,
now, I'm saying again, thank you for sponsoring this, even though some of the people might not even have TVs to see. It's still, again, a certain group of people that will have access to the information. Not everyone. It's not going to reach down. Now, we want IEC to reach down the communities, all the remote areas, be there, be visible. Go on churches, you know that people are in those churches. Teach people what is IEC about, what is voting about, what is a ward councillor, what is a local councillor, what is a mayor, what is an assembly, what is a general council, what is a legislature, and all those things. We need that information. We need that civil education.
This was a really good and robust discussion that I enjoyed, and I'm sure you also enjoyed. No, I think this is a good time for us to close.
I think really at the end of the day, thank you very much, colleagues. At the end of the day, if you'll be voting in a metro like us here in Johannesburg, you'll be given 2 ballot papers. One would be a ballot for the Metro Council, and the other one will be a ballot for the ward. This is where you'll be voting for your ward councillors. Of course, you'll have to go to the voting station where you are registered as a voter, because these are constituency-based elections. And if you are in a municipality that has a local municipality as well as a district municipality, in this case then you would be given 3 ballot papers. One would be for the district council, the second one would be for the local council, and of course the last one would be for the ward, where you'll be selecting or voting for your ward councillor. And people are encouraged indeed to bring their ID documents when they go to vote on election day, and ensure that indeed you go to the voting station where you are registered. You need not worry about COVID-19 at the voting station, because as the IEC we have voting station safety protocols to ensure that everybody at the voting station is safe to vote during this election, particularly from COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching Give and Take. Remember to like, share, and let's continue the conversation in the comment section.
For more information on the IEC, kindly visit www.elections.org.za or call our toll-free number 0800 11 8000, available during election periods. Our social media handle is at IEC South Africa, or WhatsApp hi to 0600 880000. Hashtag Every Voice Together.